were you a part of early development when Jhindread was a thing? So Jhindread, the original version of Jhin we were working on, was done by Rex, and that eventually turned into Kindred. Um, and then I ended up picking up like the leftover like robot cowboy bounty hunter kind of thematic that we were going to, because after Kindred released and after I was done working on Echo, we needed to make an AD carry next, and we also wanted to make it on a very short timeline. Jhin was originally slotted to be made in 5 months. Haha, not 4, but 5. And so the original intent for Jhin was from start to end of development would be a 5-month period. And so because of that, we needed to start, hit the ground running, basically. We couldn't like really start from scratch. And so we kind of asked ourselves, okay, we're making an AD carry. Do we have any existing concepts that we haven't done yet that we think like have pretty high potential? And this like robot sniper bounty hunter kind of theme that old Jhindread had was pretty compelling, and so we took that. Jhin ended up taking 7 months to make instead of 5. He was originally slotted to come out in December, and we ended up pushing him till the following February for a number of reasons. One of the reasons is I got sick for a month, so I was just literally not around. Although during that time, Squad 5 helped out and like did a lot of really good work on Jhin. Squad 5 is a major reason why Jin's ult is as good as it is. When I was working on Jhin, I had his ultimate, right? And it was like, okay, so he sets up and he shoots these shots at you from across the map, and it's this cool sniper moment, and it's really fun. And no one really liked it. It wasn't super fun. I thought it was cool. I saw the vision, but like it didn't get very good feedback. And so when I was out sick, Squad 5 took it over and started iterating on it. And the thing he did to make it good is he got an engineer to help make tech to make this camera zoom out. And so originally Jin's ultimate was not zoomed out. And so you had to like kind of like mouse around and find your targets over this big range. And then Squad 5 and the engineer he worked with got the zoom out tech for the camera, which then like, you know, kind of like sets the stage for Jin's ult, where you can see the entire area you can potentially hit and then shoot them. And that made that spell just feel so much better. So yeah, I think it's pretty sweet. You know, that's Jhin though. Oh, Kuhaku, thank you for the 2 months. Give Samira more agency? So your question is like, can you give Samira more agency to balance how weak she has to be kept? Samira isn't kept weak in the sense that like she's like too good for silver players or something like that. The thing about Samira is, first of all, she actually has a lot of mastery, meaning that like her win rate will be lower than her actual power. And just because if you master the character, you're going to get a lot of value out of that mastery. That's part of how Samira goes. But the other thing about Samira is that she tends to have a very high ban rate. And so a lot of Samira's balance and tuning is can often be more focused on like what her ban rate is. And the danger of giving a character more agency when they have a high ban rate is agency is one of the better or one of the higher reasons to ban a character. A lot of players, when they like lose to a character who had high agency, the ability to like outplay them and, you know, kind of like make the fight go how they want, that can often like be more likely to ban a character. And so I don't know, well, more agency could definitely do something like, say, make Samira better in pro play or something like that. There would be a very real risk of like, if we give her too much agency, she, you know, her ban rate gets higher, and then we have to, and like that's what she is balanced around. This is why, as an example, we took away her E dashing to allies. When Samira shipped, she could dash to enemies and dash to allies, which was a lot of agency, because like you could jump in, kill everybody, and then jump out with your E reset. And one of the reasons we took that away was just like we were looking for solutions to like make kind of like curb the ways she could be powerful and the ways she could inject agency into the game, and to deal with the fact that she was a very high banned character when she came out. So that's something that we tend to have to think about with Samira, is how frustrating she can be at times. Now that said, we do think she's a little weak right now, and we are buffing her next patch. She's getting her, I believe her E gives her attack speed, and we're increasing the duration of that attack speed. And so you'll be able to, more auto attack more, both to like clear waves and just auto attack champions and kill them without being as gated by that window, which I think actually really is to some degree an agency buff, because it gives you like more flexibility over your ability to like auto people without having to really be worried about like, oh, I just need to do it in this one specific burst window. So I think that change will be a pretty good feel buff for her personally. I'm a fan of the change Freak is doing. Leba, thank you for the Prime sub. Appreciate it. Trazoon asked a question. Thoughts on NAAFIRI, whether it can be current balance state or place in the game? I think NAAFIRI suffers a bit from, she's a bit too straightforward to feel good within our balance framework. Our balance framework, has like kind of like caps of how much win rate you can have, and NAAFIRI is a very straightforward character that tends to have to be a very, very high win rate to like feel viable, and I think that's rough for her. I think if I was to say like long term for NAAFIRI, I think NAAFIRI is a character who like perhaps we could give a bit more agency to, a bit more outplay potential, make her a bit less simple. She was designed with the goal of being simple and straightforward, but I think maybe we went too hard on that goal. And I do wonder if she like had a bit more outplay potential, how she'd feel. We'll be being balanced at a bit lower win rates. I think that could potentially be good for her in the long run. That would be my thought on NAAFIRI. Thoughts on Fizz in the jungle? I think there's a lot of characters that could potentially jungle. I think Fizz could potentially be one of them. It's a little scary to make assassins jungle, because it turns out when assassins are in too many games, they start getting banned. We saw this with Zed, we saw this with Talon. One of the reasons Zed and Talon jungle, we like originally buffed them and then nerfed them, was because it was like, oh, actually, people are really frustrated when Zed and Talon are in the jungle in their games, because you just see them a lot more, and that can be dangerous. I don't know if Fizz would have the same problem. He's probably closer to Echo. Another question you have to ask, though, about making a character jungle is it's not as simple as just snap your fingers, buff their jungle numbers, and you're done. You have to make sure their pattern feels good in the jungle. And so a question for Fizz, right, would be like, okay, we make Fizz a jungler. Is it enjoyable, like, at all to clear camps on jungle Fizz? Given, how basic his kit is, right? Like, he probably stands there and auto-attacks them a lot, where it's like, then the question is like, well, is that an enjoyable pattern? Because just because a character can jungle doesn't mean people will enjoy doing it, especially if their pattern doesn't feel good to clear camps with.